Four women in Kitsap County are on a mission to make sure the man who they say raped them does not get a sweetheart plea deal. His name is Stephen Tyler Clayton. He was charged with 3 counts of rape, but in a plea deal on Monday could be sentenced to as little as a year in jail. As little as a year in jail. There were the 3 instances that he was charged with, and then a 4th woman more recently came forward and said he did the same thing to her. That case is still pending and being investigated. But I had one of the women who was raped that he was charged with raping. Her name's Alyssa. She had reached out to me. She came on with me Tuesday on Cairo News Radio to tell her story and to raise awareness for this case and really the travesty here of justice, the miscarriage of justice. And then after that, another woman who is involved in this case, one of the 3 survivors of Stephen Tyler Clayton in terms of the ones who their cases were actually charged. Her name is Annette. She reached out to me and said, you know what, I want to speak out about this too. And so I invited her on the podcast today to share her story and to share her deep frustration in what is happening in the criminal justice system that would allow a 3-time, possibly 4-time rapist to get a slap on the wrist. Annette, we appreciate you being here. Welcome to Undivided. I guess I should start by asking how you're doing.
Surviving.
Yeah. Sometimes I guess that's all you can hope for. Explain to people first just a little bit about yourself. Where do you live? How old are you?
I'm 30 years old. I live in Kitsap County. I technically now live in my mom's backyard and a travel trailer with one. Each to have a house.
How did you know Stephen Tyler Clayton?
He was my old best friend's husband.
To the extent that you're willing, take us back to the rape.
My friend Annette Thompson shot herself in the head on Thanksgiving Day. She had extreme PTSD and couldn't handle the mask and COVID, and people were not very understanding of that. And she killed herself, and so Alex called me the next morning. Ooh, I just finally said her name. The next morning telling me that Danae killed herself, and at the time, my rapist's wife's grandparents watched my oldest son. They were like my main friends. Like they were like in their 70s, but they were my main. And I called them and said, hey, I need you to watch my boys. I need to get to Alex. So I went to Alex's and I said we were crying for probably like an hour and a half until I finally was like, hey, do you want to be like go high school on this? And straight up said like bring our feelings away tonight and then deal with real life tomorrow. She said go. She's like, hell yeah. So told Clayton to go get us a bottle, came back with nasty vodka, and we just drank. And my nickname's Take a Nap Annette because I pass out very easily after just a couple shots, especially when you have 2 little boys. And well, short story, and I can go into detail, but I'm not going to. But I woke up to him, and I always thought I would fight till death. I was never a victim before for a reason. I never looked. But I froze, and I was sleeping in the same bed as her, and I didn't know what to do. And right when he realized I woke up, he put his hand over my mouth.
So
And then
he assaulted you, Annette, while you were sleeping in the same bed with your friend who was his wife.
Yep, mourning the death of our old friend slash spectrum community family is what we call it.
Wow. So in what year was that?
Thanksgiving 2020.
2020. So when did you decide to come forward and tell authorities what he did to you?
Well, I told the family in February because I couldn't handle not telling her. And then the day that, because Alyssa watched everyone treat me like crap, and so Alyssa finally told her husband what happened, and drama. And the day she called me telling me that she's gonna have to report it, because if she does it to someone else, and that's her story to tell, you know. So I said, go for it and go ahead and give him my information, even though I was secretly freaking out. And after she did her report, I called and went right in after.
And
That was March.
you mentioned Alyssa. For people who haven't heard it, I had Alyssa on Cairo News Radio yesterday, and she is another woman who was raped by Steven Tyler Clayton, who came forward, and someone who you know obviously through kind of these family friend ties. What did that attack do to your life? How has it negatively impacted your life since then?
Well, before it happened to me, before I reported it, um, I was living in a house with 3-bedroom house. I built a playroom downstairs for my, at the time, 3-year-old, three, almost 4, and almost 2-year old. And uh, I worked at the same job for over 7 years, but I don't work anymore. I don't have a job anymore. I had over 8,000 in savings. I am in more debt than I've ever been. Um, I freak out over the littlest things, and that's not who I was before. So I literally have panic attacks over the littlest things. So it impacted my life a lot. But what, try not to break here, but what impacted was my kids. And my boys had to watch me cry. I broke down. I hid in a bathroom. I started being on my phone. Mind you, I was not a phone person. I was an outside in the woods person. And then I just like lived off my phone ever since.
And you said that you're suffering from PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
So when you found out, and this moves forward, he's charged with 3 rapes. I know since then a 4th woman has come forward and that case is being looked at.
Mm-hmm.
When did you find out that he was going to take a plea for just one case and that his
So,
sentence could be as little as a year in jail?
so Miss State, um, called telling me that they want to do a plea deal right before we were supposed to do him trying to separate all 3 of us. And the reason why to separate all 3 of us is because he had an easier way to like drop 2. And so they want to do a plea because they realized we're screwed. And she told me at first they wanted 6 months, and I laughed. I was like, okay. But I was like, so what did you offer? And she first offered 15 to 20. And I instantly got sick to my stomach because it's like, that's your first offer? Like, have you ever played poker? Like, and I didn't know at the time when she was saying 15, 20 that'd be for all 3 of us for one count. Like, so I literally emailed her because like after we had to get off the phone because my 3-year-old was screaming in the background and she wouldn't answer. I like basically begged, and I'm not a beggar, and I begged and begged, don't go any lower, don't go any lower. Like you should have went the highest, showing that you have a good case. You just showed that you have nothing. Which, and I gave them everything. I gave them all my text messages, all the paperwork. I have everything. I've studied that shit like nobody's business. Sorry.
You're okay.
He had no chance. The only thing he had on his side was that he didn't actually get charged with any criminal activity in the past.
Annette, what do you think? What message do you think it sends if he gets a year in jail on Monday when he's sentenced?
Uh, it shows that it's proof of that the justice system is unjust, and it makes it look. It provides assurance why victims don't come forward, and that's why us 3 remain standing tall and still come forward because we don't want this to happen to anybody else.
Are you scared about what might happen if he gets out in a year, when he gets out?
No, not me personally, but I'm a different type of person.
What would if Steven Tyler Clayton were to see this or hear this, what would you say to him?
I have a lot to say to him. basically you raped the wrong one. Like I said, sorry when you use cuss word, but I told him straight up, I was like, I told you you raped the wrong bitch. You know, he pushed it. He pushed it. I'm not that person to let things go. Um, you know, I'm actually happy that we did come forward because it now he's more screwed than what originally was going to happen. I think personally, I'm happy that Alyssa blasted it after that plea agreement.
Yeah.
But that whole one count, I was the one that said 1+1=2 if my math is correct. There's three of us. I was the one that said that.
Well, I think you're totally right. I won't repeat what you said, but the fact that, you know, he thought that you guys were weak, that he could victimize you, that you wouldn't stand up for yourselves, you're showing him that that is not the case. And let's end with this, Annette. I know there are going to be some folks outside the courthouse on Monday in Kitsap County protesting this. To the powers that be, to the prosecutor's office, to the judge, if the judge hears this, what do you hope that they do on Monday?
Well, they already did the deal, but a judge can, and she did say she can override it. It's in the paper, in the plea agreement. Um, I think that it's going to be more than a year, and I think she will look at the evidence and what legally you consecutively, meaning she can do 12 months for each of us, or she could take the 12 months right out and give them the max if she wants. But I think either way, we didn't win. We didn't win. You know, we didn't. But we didn't lose either. Because to me, because we stand until the very, very end, to me that's winning.
Yeah.
But he'll get his. He'll get his. He already has. His face is all over the place, and now all over the news.
Those women are awesome to me. Those women are awesome. And in fact, if you would like to be there for them, if you're in the Kitsap County area and you want to be there for them, and you want to say that you support them for standing up, for speaking up, that you don't support a plea deal for a guy like Stephen Tyler Clayton, you can be outside the Kitsap County Courthouse at 9 a.m. on Monday, 9 a.m. on Monday, the 23rd, and you can stand with those women and let them know that what happened to them isn't right, but the criminal justice system re-victimizing them is not right either.